Hey, good morning, everybody. I am very glad you're here. It's another day in self-isolation for many people, and I know there's a lot of women around the world who are really struggling because they are in emotionally abusive or physically abusive or energetically abusive situations. And when you are trapped in your home with people who are emotionally unstable and difficult to be around, and it leaves you in a very high level of stress where your nervous system is on high alert the entire time because there's no getting away. There's no escape. You live with the person, you can't get away from them. It's not like you can really go anywhere or get together with other people to deal with this. Everything that you say, nothing's private. Um, it's a tough time for a lot of women and men, but I talk mainly to women who are in these relationships, and the stress is getting higher. So, hi, I'm Rita Hickman. I'm a body mind expert and a shiatsu massage therapist. And I help women who are in toxic and narcissistic relationships learn how to navigate them, heal from them, divorce from them, find a way to make them work, whatever it may be. There's certain skills and certain tools that you need in order to deal with a narcissist. And even if you divorce them or get rid of them, they find a way to have a connection with you. So this isn't a relationship that's just going to be gone if you go no contact. It's something that you need to develop some skills, and with other people as well, because with the higher level of stress, people's mental health issues are really coming out of the woodwork. And so you're going to be encountering a lot more people who are have high narcissistic tendencies, and without the skills or the desire to manage those emotional outbursts or the manipulation or the gaslighting that all comes from their sense of insecurity or their sense of uncertainty. And with the whole world being uncertain, I'm sure you're in a difficult time right now. So, what do you do when a narcissist gets angry? The number one thing that I teach women to do is when you're in a situation, in a car, in a house, no place to go, or inside of you, you're frozen or reacting strongly when you get triggered, the best thing to do is pause. Um, and you don't pause for the rest of your life. What you do is you pause for a while so that you can get back in charge of the situation, so that you can start gathering information. You can start deciding how you want to engage with this, because most people, most women, it's understandable. You're being attacked and attacked and attacked and attacked and attacked. And of course, your response wants to be to attack back. Or you're worried that you'll be bullied for the rest of your life. And so you can't, you need to fight back now, because otherwise you'll have that horrible thing that happened to you before happen again, whether it was violence, of any sort throughout your whole life. What they're really triggering is that deep well of pain that you're still carrying, that you haven't worked with. And so when a narcissist gets angry, it's in your best interests to pause for a couple different reasons. One, if you give them a little bit of space, then their emotion will usually naturally peak and then come back down. And I know usually that makes you mad, because narcissists will behave in crazy over the top ways and then pretend like nothing happened after you're sitting there, quivering on the floor, in emotional, from the emotional violence. So I completely understand that. And when we engage with them, what happens is we end up being more victimized. We're not able to protect ourselves, mainly because they're meaner than we are. They don't have boundaries. They don't have, their value system doesn't agree with or ours on how you treat someone. And so when you do engage with a narcissist when they're angry, it's it tends to make things where, you know, they feel better because now they've expressed themselves and you feel just knocked to the ground. What pausing does is allows you to help manage or contain how long the episode will last. So it's a self-protection mechanism, both for them and for you. Because if you pause, even if you're triggering inside, if you start to develop that muscle of pausing, it will help you take back control of how you feel, because it's a choice. You're choosing to pause, you're choosing to stop. That's an action, it's a verb, because inside of yourself, you may be feeling crazy, and it's a muscle we need to practice of pausing. So after you get more comfortable with not reacting immediately, or you just had an argument, a blow up with the narcissist, then it's smart to go and process through the feelings that did come up, the feelings of anger and hurt and rejection, and the memories of all the times that either this narcissist has devastated you, or other narcissists in your past, and the pain and the wounds that came from them. These are emotions that do need to be processed, and you don't want to process them in secret. You know, it's good to journal about them, make art about them, share them with people who understand what you're talking about, who can be supportive and caring and nurturing, and not talking to people who are have their own narcissistic tendencies themselves. Those people aren't available. So it's important to start finding people who do understand, whether it's me, whether it's a support group, whether it's a coaching group, whatever it may be, even if you're just listening to things, to start thinking differently, okay? Because when you watch videos and you listen to things, your brain starts to rewire itself. So once you deal with the emotions, because that's what a narcissist can do, they trigger all of those past emotions. If you have a space to process them out, then they start to get smaller and smaller. You start to react less and less and less, because you're actually dealing with the emotions that came up, instead of ending up in some loop, this crazy never-ending loop where you're going to lose in an argument with a narcissist. If you get triggered, the best thing to do is there's a line in the Bible that really struck me, and I'm not a big Bible reader, but it always struck me, of don't throw your pearls before swine, which means that don't give away your emotions, don't give away your vulnerability to someone who cannot value it, who will abuse it, who will hurt it. You don't leave yourself open to someone who doesn't know how to respect other people. So when you go and you start processing through these things, then you learn to respect yourself. You learn that you have value. And once that starts, then when you get into an argument with a narcissist, when they get angry, you're better able to not be triggered. You're better able to stay in a stable place, especially if you use things like chamomile tea or herbal supplements that help you stay calm. So then when a narcissist gets angry, you don't trigger as hard. It's manageable. You'll trigger less and less. When you get to the point where you trigger less and less, now when you have arguments, because they're going to happen over and over and over and over. A narcissist isn't going to stop. They'll take hiatuses, but they aren't going to stop. I had a mentor once. I was sitting next to them and they kept hitting me in the arm. And I turned to them and I said, "Why are you hitting me?" He says, "Because you haven't told me to stop yet. You haven't made me stop." And so getting angry back at a narcissist doesn't make them stop. It just feeds them. What helps stop a narcissist is when you start to have boundaries, when you start to decide for yourself, because you're not triggering as hard, what experience you want to have and what experience you don't want to have. And you start putting in rules of engagement, saying, "No, I don't swear at you. You are not allowed to swear at me. I don't bring up the past. You are not allowed to bring up the past. I don't raise my voice. You are not allowed to raise your voice. And when you do, I'm leaving." When you gain some more confidence and you don't trigger as hard and you stay out of that fight or flight mode, you're able to respond in a way that is healthy and protective of you. and you stop ending up in situations where you are victimized over and over, because you start saying, I'm not engaging with this. So there's a path where you start to learn how to find your voice and set boundaries and hold them firm. And you start to talk to a narcissist while they're, out of their head with emotion. You're able to say, I'm not allowing this. I'm not going to allow this. And this is how I'm handling it. I'm not doing this, and you're not allowed to do this. There's a big thing with narcissists many times is when they're called on their behavior, they even to themselves don't want to seem like bad guys. So even though they don't follow their own rules, if you start setting boundaries and you set consequences for them, and you just very calmly are like, no, I don't swear at you. You're not allowed to swear at me. It raises the energy of the conversation, and it talks to if there's any goodness in the narcissist, and actually most narcissists, unless they're clinical narcissists, most people who have high narcissistic tendencies, there's a seed of goodness in them. There's a seed of empathy. You might not have ever seen it. You might not think it ever exists because you watch how cruel they are or unkind they are. But when you start talking to that higher version of them, when you start raising the level of the conversation and the engagement, when you start setting the guidelines for how you are going to be treated, things start to change. But you have to wait until you're not hijacked yet by your own amygdala. You're not hijacked yet by your own emotions. So you have to start looking at that, let's say, and processing through those emotions until you get to a point where you're able to stay steady when a narcissist is angry. And that's when you're able to start setting boundaries. That's when you're able to start saying, I don't deserve this, and I'm not going to allow you to treat me this way. This is how things start to shift. So the number one thing when a narcissist gets angry, if you're not used to standing up for yourself or having a voice or setting good boundaries or raising the level of the conversation, if you're not used to that, the best thing you can do is pause. Because otherwise, any reaction you have, any reaction, not response, but any reaction is going to encourage them. It's going to feed the energy. It's going to justify why they're behaving in the way that they are, because you deserve it. They decided you deserve it. And so they're going to give you everything that they've ever been pained, or heard about, and blame it and put it on you. That's what they're going to do. So until you're able to feel supported enough and have enough self-respect that you can stand steady and speak for yourself in a higher engagement sort of way, best thing to do is pause, 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 pause. And then take that time to get level, to sort out your feelings, to process through them, to get support. And then the next time the narcissist gets angry, it may feel just as difficult, but it keeps getting easier because you keep processing through the feelings that have been buried. And that's what a narcissist does. It's one of their gifts, is they trigger your deepest wounds so that you can process through them and get rid of them and heal them and get them off your shoulders and get them off your nervous system. Okay. So if you know any women who are in emotionally abusive relationships, please share these videos with them. Narcissistic toxic relationships, share these with them. And encourage them to reach out. Encourage yourself to reach out. And if you're a strong, successful, capable woman who is in a relationship with someone who is abusive and toxic. So reach out yourself. There's a lot of different things we can do, from one-on-one coaching to group coaching to a free library to free groups that we have. And I do one-on-one coaching once a week for women as well. So let me know, reach out, and yeah, good luck. I'm behind you. You can do this, okay? I'll talk to you later. Bye.